Alright guys, welcome to episode 72 of EDH Commander Challenge. I'm your host, BT. Before we start today's episode, I just want to show you real quick. In case you don't know, if you're watching this the day this video comes out, it's one day before my birthday. And I was just finishing off editing today's episode, and buddies came by and gave me stuff. Also, I found some stuff in the mail from some fans from the show, which was pretty cool. Just going to show you what, listen, I guess some early birthday and Christmas presents, I guess you could say, from everybody. Wilson, who you see on the channel, got me this really nice PSN gift card. Darren got me an EB Games gift card, which will be great, seeing as how Boxing Day is almost coming up. And plus next year with some crazy games coming out, including like Jump Force and Fate Extel Link, this will come in handy for sure. Hope I got this name right from one of the fans of the channel, Othello, bro? Or Othello? It's like Othello, the game that I used to play as a kid. Anyway, Othello bro sent me these really awesome plastics featuring two of my favorite characters from the Majikoi anime/visual novel. That's Mayuzumi Yuki on the left, and then you got Christiane Frederique on the right. So this is just wow. And this is probably like the second time only ever that a fan of the show's actually sent me something. This is great. And speaking of great, good buddy Ratello's Soul sent me this nice proxy he made for me, Sword of Fire and Ice, featuring one of my favorite anime characters of all time, Altera, from the Fate Grand Order and Fate Extella series respectively. So thank you very much, by the way, Ratellos, you the man, and thank you Othello bro, the gifts are really, really awesome. Wilson as well, thank you for the PSN gift card, and Darren, thank you for the EB Games. Just let you guys know in the comments below, please don't forget to help Ratello's Soul reach 100 subscribers. It'd be greatly appreciated. It's going to be pumping out more content for EDH. So if you love EDH gaming and deck techs, another great place to go is Ratello's Soul. There'll be a link to his channel in the description below. He's almost there. He's at around 80 subs right now, so help him get to 100. Appreciate that, guys, and thank you very much. And last but not least, the Mad Scientist got me this Guilds of Ravnica, I think it's called a Fat Pack, got like 10 boosters in it. Funny thing is, I actually wrote on Twitter recently, we each bought a pack of the new set of Ultimate Masters, and I got a Balefire Dragon, and he got Tarmogoyf. So I clearly won that one, right? Probably, the cool thing I can at least say, some people were telling me in the comments, is Balefire is definitely a card for EDH, while Tarmogoyf is not. But of course, in terms of overall value, I got murdered. Anyway, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who was kind of to give me these lovely early birthday gifts. It's I really, really appreciate it. It's more than I deserve, and I'm very grateful. So thank you guys. Also, I'll give a shout outs as well to all of you who are celebrating your birthdays, and the holiday season's coming up. Christmas is just over a week away, so happy holidays. So now, without any further ado, let us get to introduce to our players for today's episode. First, we have the Mad Scientist, who's playing his mono-white cat deck, featuring Brimaz, King of Oreskos. His opening hand consists of Reconnaissance, Dawn of Hope, Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, Swiftfoot Boots, and 3 Plains. His opponent, Etienne, is using his Temur General, Maelstrom Wanderer, and keeps a hand with Crystal Shard, Skyshroud Claim, Wall of Blossoms, Shivan Reef, a mountain, and 2 forests. Francis won the die roll and starts the game. Let's go! Francis plays a Plains and casts Reconnaissance. Then he passes. Etienne plays a Forest and passes. Francis plays a Plains and casts Dawn of Hope. and he passes. For Etienne's turn, he plays a forest and casts Wall of Blossoms, allowing him to draw a free card, and he also passes. Francis plays another Plains and casts his general, Brimaz, King of Oreskos, and passes. Etienne plays a mountain and passes. Francis plays a Rogue's Passage and casts Swiftfoot Boots. He attempts to attach it to Brimaz to give it hexproof and haste, but in response, Etienne casts Beast Within, targeting the Brimaz and killing it successfully. Francis moves Brimaz back to his command zone and gets a 3/3 Beast token in its place. As it can't get around the Wall of Blossoms being a 0/4, Francis passes. Etienne plays a Shivan Reef for his land and casts Crystal Shard. Then he passes. Francis starts his turn off by casting a Johnny, Adversary of Tyrants. He goes to uptick it to put a +1/+1 counter on his Beast token, but as he's now tapped out and can't pay for anything else, Etienne taps his Reef, taking 1 damage to give himself a blue, and uses it to use the Crystal Shard to bounce the Beast token out of the game. With nothing else to do, Francis passes the turn. Etienne plays a mountain and casts Sky Shroud Claim to grab a forest and a Stomping Ground, which he chooses to put into play tapped, and passes the turn. Francis casts Ghostly Prison, and then he passes the turn, forgetting to uptick his Ajani. During his end step, Etienne takes 1 damage from his Reef in order to gain a blue mana and use it to use his Crystal Shard to bounce his wall back to his hand. During Etienne's turn, he takes another damage from his Reef for another blue mana to cast Urban Evolution. This gives him some card draw and a free land drop this turn. He plays a Forbidden Orchard and casts Somberwalled Sage. This gives Francis a free 1/1 Spirit token thanks to the Forbidden Orchard being used. Then he passes. Francis top decks Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, and uses it for 5 white mana thanks to his devotion to said color. He then recasts Brimaz, his general, and equips it with Swiftfoot Boots, giving it both haste and hexproof. He then upticks a Johnny to place a +1/+1 counter on both of his creatures. Then he moves into combat, attacking with both of his creatures, which in turn triggers the Brimaz, which grants Francis a 1/1 cat token with vigilance that's also attacking. Etienne declares no blocks, and as a result takes 7 damage total. Then Francis passes the turn. For Etienne's turn, he casts Kadama's Reach, putting an island into play tapped, and 1 to his hand, which he plays as his land for the turn. Then he casts his deadly general, Maelstrom Wanderer. And his first cascade gets him... Are you serious? Tooth and nail? Really? Man. Etienne has the luck of the Irish here. Thank God he can't entwine the spell. Otherwise that would be super broken. he chooses to add 2 creatures to his hand with its effect, adding Pathbreaker Ibex and Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker. And with his second Cascade trigger, he gets Regal Behemoth. That makes Etienne the Monarch. He then moves to combat since his Wanderer gives his creatures haste, and attacks Ajani with both of his creatures, which doesn't trigger the Ghostly Prison since he's attacking the Planeswalker and not the player. Francis allows Ajani to die, and then Etienne passes the turn, getting a free draw during the end step thanks to his being the Monarch. Francis casts Vanquisher's Banner, naming cats. This gives all of his cats +1/+1 while this card's on the field. He then moves into combat and attacks with all of his creatures, claiming that after damage, he would untap his Spirit token with his Reconnaissance. Etienne declares no blocks once again and takes a total of 11 damage. Then Francis passes the turn. During his end step, Francis gets to draw a free card, having become the Monarch since he dealt damage to Etienne during this turn. Also during the end phase, Etienne taps his Forbidden Orchard for a blue mana, giving Francis another 1/1 spirit in the process, to use his Crystal Shard to bounce his General, Maelstrom Wanderer, back to his hand. Etienne gives props to Francis for the strong life lead, but states that now he has a plan to win it all. He starts by casting the evil Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker, and then apologizes before laying down Zealous Conscripts. With this, Etienne essentially gains infinite creatures, and here's how. As he can tap the Mirror Breaker to make a token copy of the Conscripts, which in turn allows him to target the Mirror Breaker, untapping it, he's able to make infinite creatures this way by repeating the process. And once he has enough creature tokens for lethal, we'll say for example 1 million, he can then use the last Conscripts token he makes to be able to gain control of the only shield protecting Francis, being his Ghostly Prison, allowing him to attack without paying mana for each creatures, and essentially winning him the game. Welcome to Cardboard MVP, where we have a quick look at the cards that do the most for each player. For Francis, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx was surely the saving grace. Considering he wasn't drawing very much land, but had a lot of colored permanents in play, this card gave Francis some decent turns. It's too bad he didn't have a way to stop the infinite creatures at the end with, say, a Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile before the Zealous Conscripts came into play, or a way to pad his life total from reaching 0 with, say, an Angel's Grace, an Ethereal Haze, or even a Holy Day, in which the game could have gone differently if he had a board wipe waiting in his hand next turn, but we'll never know. For Etienne, I'd have to say Crystal Shard. Crystal Shard is, in my opinion, an underrated gem in EDH. Why? Because if you have a lot of creatures that have entered the battlefield effects, this allows you to reuse them over and over again, as Etienne could have clearly done with his Wall of Blossoms or even his General, to get more and more cascade triggers. It also allowed him to disrupt Francis a bit, as you saw when he bounced the Beast token out of the game simply because Francis was tapped out and didn't have a way of paying to keep the beast in play. So definitely, I recommend this to anybody that has a lot of ETB creatures, because it's really worth its weight in gold. Or in this case, crystal. You agree with our picks? Let us know what you think the best cards were in this game. And thank you to our subscribers, because as of the filming of this video, just one day before my birthday, we have surpassed 800 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you all, and happy holidays. Alright guys, that's it for this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed watching. Just want to let you know, if you aren't already part of our ever-growing EDHCC family and you want to join in on the fun, make sure you smash the subscribe button and the notification bells down below, and you'll know every single time a new video drops. Now, we do videos every single week, so don't forget as well to like them, share them, comment on them, but most importantly, enjoy them. Shout out to all of our family members, our subscribers, our viewers, if you will. It is an honor and a privilege to do this each and every week, and you joining on the fun with us. Until next time, I'm your host, BT, reminding you to check out all of the videos on the channel. Join our game. It's now your turn. Cheers!